Dr. Stanstall, once again, my favorite time of the week where we get to go deep and very high level on some really interesting topics that are right alongside cybersecurity. So, where are we going today?
We're going to talk about communication, Julie, because it seems, like in my favorite movie, one of my favorite movies, Cool Hand Luke, Paul Newman and Strother Martin, where Strother Martin says to prisoner Paul Newman, what we have here is a failure to communicate. And in some ways, this is a human condition. There's a great quote attributed to George Bernard Shaw. The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. There's even a great book by, hold on, let me look it up real quickly. Great book, like I should know the title. Alan Alda has a book called If I Understand, Should You? Would I have this look on my face?
Ha!
Right?
I love it.
That's a challenge we have.
It
Thinking
is.
we communicate when we don't. And it plays off into cyber. Yeah. So that's what
So
we're
tell
going to
me
talk
some
about today.
examples. Like what are some examples that we could look at in day-to-day life? I mean, talk me through a little more.
Hey, so Julie, I know when we leave here, you're going to go off to the supermarket. Would you pick up some chicken stock for me? I like the one in the blue box.
Yeah, I can look for that.
Yeah.
Oh, but wait, Stan, here I am at the grocery store and there's like 3 with a blue box. What am I doing here?
Exactly, because I didn't give you a complete specification.
Agreed.
See, I said a blue box. I didn't say, what the brand name was. Not that I would know one name of chicken stock from another. Pronouns is another big place. I regularly you'll read a paragraph, or somebody will say something in a paragraph, and there'll be 2 or 3 nouns in that paragraph, and then they'll go off, and then the next paragraph, and he da 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 da, or she da 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 da, a pronoun, or it, if you were talking about animals and so on. What's the reference to that? I mean, it sounds obvious, right? Like, all right, we'll figure it out. Rarely does that matter. If you and I are talking and I don't know which person you're talking about because you used a pronoun, I'll say, hey, Julie, slow down.
Dr. Stan, I don't know where this is all going, though. I mean, we all know that these ambiguities exist. How do they affect us?
Okay, good question, Ms. Morris. So I'm designing a program. I'm speccing out a program. I want you to build for me, computer program. And I say it needs to have a login screen. So you come back and you give me the program, and here's the login screen. And I've said nothing else about it. Well, login screens. Okay, you need an email address for the login screen. Email addresses are, maybe at most 30, 40, 50, 60 characters. You're using a application that somebody else has written to put that login screen on the program you're writing for me. And that is only built to manage logins less than 40, 50, 60 characters. And so that's what you give me, but you haven't, because I haven't properly spec'd it, and you didn't understand that you have to limit it to that 40, 50, 60 characters, or bad things can happen. And ambiguity in the spec. And now along comes a cyber criminal, and instead of putting in an email address this big, puts in a character string that the cyber criminal would understand, because it's specially crafted that when he puts that long character string in that field, program gets broken. And now the bad guys got an opportunity to get in.
Wow.
All because of a bad spec. And lest you think this is not common, 1980, I just get started in this field. I come out of a mathematics background, et cetera. I'm reading about all the challenges the industry is beginning to find in what's now called software engineering. There was a GAO report, goes back to 1979, that looked at large projects by 1979 standards. They're tiny by today's standards, most of which failed to achieve their objectives. Why? Because there were ambiguities in the specification that was written.
And as those problematic
ambiguities worked their way through the system, we had system failures. And those problems still go on today, because we think we're communicating when we're not. that's one illustration on the
Wow.
technology side. Yeah.
Yeah, that's heavy. Okay. So with
Yeah.
all of that bad news of all the ambiguities that are going to bite you in the hiney, what else is on your mind today?
Well, it's obviously it's communication's a major failure this
Yes,
way.
without a
And
doubt.
I mean, good gods, I mean, we're speaking the day after the State of the Union address,
Hmm.
which in and amongst everything that was said last night on both sides, and so much of what we disagree about has nothing to do with what we disagree about. It has to do with the ambiguities, but we're locked into our positions now that we're not willing to sit down at the table and provide, kind of the
Right.
leadership that's necessary. Let's work through our problems,
Right.
um, I mean, and it illustrates a fundamental leadership challenge.
Hmm.
Again, let's get real, let's get practical. We also see day in, day out in
Yeah.
information security. How often, how
Hmm.
often, Ms. Morris, have we
Hmm.
gotten an email or a letter or seen it in the press of a company that's been breached? And it's, we take our customers' security and privacy very seriously.
Lies.
Failure to
Lies.
communicate the truth.
Right.
Because no, they don't.
No, they don't.
They, okay, some do. Sometimes you're really well prepared. Bad stuff happens. We know that,
Yeah.
right? Sadly, I mean, good gods, the tragedy in Turkey
Yeah.
and Syria right now. I mean, just illustrates that. But more often than not, it's an illustration of what Pogo said zillions of years ago, back
Hmm.
in the 1970s, the first Earth Day, 52 years ago. We have met the enemy and he is us.
Hmm.
It's our problem. It's
Yes.
leadership's problem. Yeah.
It is. It is. So you're reminding us, of course, that we need to lead better. We need to lead ourselves better and the environments that we have an influence in. And we want to make sure that we're not, as my good friend Rakesh says, who speaks about all things related to humanitarian and cybersecurity, and especially as it relates to what's happening in Turkey right now with the response, do no
Mhm.
harm. Help, but do no harm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And
Hmm.
this leadership piece,
Hmm.
it's so fundamental here as we do whether, it's how we respond in Syria, Turkey, or, well, with cyber incidents. And there's a classic story I like to tell about the father of the total quality management,
Hmm.
W. Edwards Deming, Six Sigma, and all the statistical process control. Uh,
Yes.
and Deming, and it goes directly to this: we take cybersecurity seriously when we really don't. It goes to leadership. There's a
Right.
story told about a Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 company that hires Deming. The CEO hires Deming to come implement total quality management in their company. And the CEO assembles all the division vice presidents and the general managers and all in a room with Deming, introduces Deming, and walks out,
Hmm.
only to discover a moment later that Deming is right behind him.
Wow.
CEO turns to Deming and says, "What are you doing?
What's going
I
on?
hired you to teach TQM to them."
Yeah.
Deming looks him in the eye and he says, "It's not important enough for you to stay in that room, then it's not important enough for me to stay in that room." That's leadership. That's
Damn.
saying, wow, don't just tell me that you care,
Right.
demonstrate it. That's
Demonstrate it.
effective. That's effective communication. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, Dr. Sienna, I completely appreciate that. And this has been a great discussion. And I think just as we're imagining what we do after this, stay involved, stay aware, don't assume, don't take it for granted that you are secure. Don't take it for granted that the people around you are secure. And if you want to join Secure the Village in helping do exactly that, there is a place for you here. There's a place to sponsor specific activities where we are doing direct outreach to help others stay secure. And also with even like our workforce working groups that we have, working to fill the cybersecurity gap, because we will not have enough qualified people very soon. There will not be enough to keep us safe.
There
There's a
aren't enough
place for you
today.
here. There aren't enough today.
Yeah, that's right. Come on, Julie. Yeah. There aren't even
Like,
enough today, let alone
denial. But yes, absolutely.
right.
Right.
But yeah, I mean,
Well,
just absolutely, it's part of the challenge, and we can leave it here that all of us, each and every one of us, have the opportunity to be leaders.
yes.
All we have to do is just jump in, get involved,
Yes.
search out the ambiguities, clarify them, get everybody on the same page.
Yes.
Because it's a big page and there's room for everybody, as you say. So, yeah.
You will find them today as you leave this conversation and go about your day. There will be ambiguities that you will face. Just take the few minutes and start to address them from where you are, for goodness sake. Dr. Stahl, it's been a pleasure. We so appreciate this time with you as we do Live on Cyber, and we will see you same time next week.
Sounds great, Julie. Thanks so much.